You may think that stroke is something that only happens to very sick people, but the truth is much more alarming. In the United States, someone suffers a stroke every 40 seconds, and nearly 3 out of 4 of those cases happen to people over the age of 65. Stroke is not just a medical term. It is a brain attack that can steal your independence, your memory, or even your life in a matter of minutes. For seniors, the risk is even greater because blood vessels become stiffer with age. Chronic conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes pile on, and the chances of a fatal event double with every passing decade after 55. The tragedy is that many seniors and their families ignore the earliest signs, mistaking slurred speech or sudden weakness for fatigue, or believing that balance problems are just part of getting older. But these are not harmless signs of aging. They are urgent alarms that the brain is losing blood and oxygen. In this video, I am going to reveal the 7 most important truths every senior must know about stroke. I will explain what a stroke really is, the warning signs you must never overlook, the different types of strokes and why they matter, the major risk factors that make seniors especially vulnerable, and the 8 proven steps you can take today to reduce your risk. Before we dive in, if you have not subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. And if you find this video valuable, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I know how to make better content for you. Part 1. What stroke really is: a deadly brain attack. The first truth you must understand is that stroke is not simply a minor health scare. It is a deadly brain attack. A stroke happens when the brain suddenly loses its supply of blood and oxygen, either because a blood vessel is blocked or because one bursts and bleeds into the surrounding tissue. Unlike other organs, the brain cannot store oxygen or nutrients for later use. This means that when blood flow stops, brain cells begin to die within minutes. Every second lost during a stroke is thousands of brain cells gone forever. This is why stroke is one of the leading causes of death and long-term disability in seniors. There are 2 primary forms of stroke. The most common is ischemic stroke, caused by a clot or fatty deposit blocking a blood vessel. This accounts for nearly 87% of all strokes and can happen without warning. The other is hemorrhagic stroke, caused by a ruptured blood vessel leaking blood into the brain. Though less common, it is more deadly and more likely to leave survivors severely disabled. There is also what doctors call a transient ischemic attack, sometimes called a mini-stroke. The symptoms may last only a few minutes, but it is a red flag that a major stroke may be just around the corner. Seniors often underestimate these events, dismissing a brief spell of weakness or slurred speech as nothing serious. But that is a dangerous mistake. The impact of stroke is immediate and life-changing. One moment you may be enjoying breakfast, and the next you cannot lift your arm, speak clearly, or even recognize your loved ones. Stroke can steal your ability to walk, to care for yourself, and to live independently. It can rob families of fathers, mothers, and grandparents without warning. What makes it more frightening is that stroke does not always come with pain. Unlike a heart attack, there may be no chest pressure to alert you. It can strike silently in the middle of the night or while you are simply sitting in a chair. That is why doctors call it a brain attack. Because like a heart attack, it is sudden, severe, and demands immediate action. The good news is that early recognition and treatment within the first few hours can mean the difference between recovery and lifelong disability. The golden period for treatment is short, but it can save a life if acted on quickly. If this explanation has opened your eyes, wait until you hear about the next part, where I will reveal the most common warning signs of stroke that seniors must never ignore. Part 2. Common warning signs seniors must never overlook. The second truth every senior must know is that stroke almost always announces itself with warning signs. But too many people ignore them. These signals are not simply signs of aging or fatigue. They are alarms from your brain that blood flow has been disrupted and damage is already happening. One of the most common signs is sudden weakness or numbness. Often on one side of the body, a senior may suddenly find that an arm feels heavy, a leg drags, or one side of the face droops. Families sometimes dismiss this as temporary tiredness, but it is actually a hallmark sign of stroke. Another critical warning sign is difficulty with speech. This may appear as slurred words, an inability to form sentences, or sudden confusion when trying to understand simple language. Seniors and their loved ones may laugh it off as a slip of the tongue or hearing problem, but it can be the brain struggling to communicate. Vision problems are also common. A stroke can cause sudden double vision, blurred vision, or complete loss of vision in one or both eyes. Seniors may think they need new glasses, but the truth is far more serious. The brain's visual centers may not be receiving oxygen. Headaches are another red flag. While most headaches are harmless, a sudden, severe headache with no known cause can signal bleeding in the brain. If a senior describes it as the worst headache of their life, emergency care is needed immediately. Balance and coordination issues also signal danger. A person may suddenly feel dizzy, lose their footing, or be unable to walk in a straight line. Families may attribute this to clumsiness or age-related weakness. But in reality, it may be the brainstem shutting down vital motor functions. Doctors often use the simple acronym FAST to help people remember the signs: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulties, and time to call emergency services. But the reality is that stroke symptoms can appear in many different ways, and not all seniors will experience them the same. What they all have in common is sudden onset. If any of these symptoms appear out of nowhere, even if they disappear after a few minutes, they must be treated as a medical emergency. The golden window for treatment is short, usually just a few hours, and every minute counts. Seniors and caregivers must understand that waiting to see if symptoms improve is one of the most dangerous mistakes. By the time help is delayed, the brain damage may already be permanent. The lesson is simple. If you or a loved one experience sudden weakness, slurred speech, vision changes, severe headache, or loss of balance, act immediately. Do not wait. Do not ignore, and do not dismiss. If this has made you realize how serious these warning signs are, wait until you hear about the next part, where I will explain the different types of stroke and why each one requires a different approach to treatment and recovery. Part 3. Different types of stroke and why they matter. The third truth every senior must understand is that not all strokes are the same. Knowing the different types is critical because each one damages the brain in a different way, and the treatment options are not identical. The most common type is ischemic stroke, which accounts for nearly 87% of all cases. This happens when a blood clot or fatty plaque blocks an artery that supplies the brain. Without oxygen, the affected part of the brain begins to die within minutes. Ischemic strokes can be further divided into thrombotic strokes, where the clot forms inside a brain artery, and embolic strokes, where a clot forms elsewhere, often in the heart. and then travels to the brain? Treatments like clot-busting medication or mechanical clot removal are possible, but only if medical care is sought within the narrow golden window of a few hours. The second type is hemorrhagic stroke, which is less common but far more deadly. This occurs when a blood vessel in the brain ruptures and bleeds into surrounding tissue. High blood pressure, aneurysms, or fragile vessel walls are often the triggers. The blood itself damages brain cells, and the pressure from the bleeding can destroy large areas of tissue. Surgery may be needed to relieve pressure, but survival is lower and disability more severe compared to ischemic stroke. Seniors must know that uncontrolled hypertension is the leading cause of this catastrophic type. Another important type is brainstem stroke. The brainstem controls vital functions like breathing, heart rate, and consciousness. A stroke here can be devastating, sometimes causing complete paralysis, inability to speak, or loss of the ability to breathe without a ventilator. Even small strokes in this region can be life-threatening because the brainstem is a control center for nearly every system in the body. Finally, there are transient ischemic attacks, often called mini-strokes. The symptoms mimic those of a real stroke, but resolve within minutes or hours. Too many seniors ignore TIAs because they feel better afterward, but this is a dangerous mistake. A thanks in advance is a loud warning that a major stroke may be imminent, and ignoring it can be fatal. Doctors view TIAs as opportunities for prevention, a chance to intervene before permanent brain damage occurs. The key lesson is that every type of stroke, whether ischemic, hemorrhagic, brainstem, or transient, is a medical emergency. They differ in mechanism, severity, and treatment, but they all require urgent recognition and rapid response. Seniors and families who understand these distinctions are better prepared to demand immediate help and to follow through with the right treatments. If this explanation has opened your eyes, wait until you hear about the next part, where I will reveal the major risk factors that make seniors especially vulnerable to stroke and why prevention must start today. Part 4. Major risk factors raising stroke danger in seniors. The fourth truth every senior must face is that stroke does not come out of nowhere. It is driven by powerful risk factors that silently damage the brain and blood vessels over many years. Age itself is the first and strongest factor. As we grow older, blood vessels naturally become stiffer and less flexible. This increases the chance of blockages, clots, and ruptures. That is why nearly 3 out of 4 strokes happen after the age of 65, and the risk doubles every decade after 55. But age is not the only danger. High blood pressure is the most common and deadly risk factor. It weakens blood vessel walls, making them more likely to burst, and it accelerates the buildup of fatty plaques that block arteries. Seniors with uncontrolled hypertension are at extreme risk of both ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes. Diabetes is another powerful enemy. High blood sugar damages blood vessels and nerves, increasing clot formation and reducing circulation. Seniors with diabetes are not only more likely to suffer strokes, but they also tend to recover more poorly afterward. Heart disease also plays a major role. Conditions like atrial fibrillation, where the heart beats irregularly, can cause clots to form and travel directly to the brain, resulting in embolic strokes. Seniors with heart failure, valve disease, or a history of heart attack also face elevated danger. Cholesterol cannot be ignored. High levels of LDL cholesterol promote plaque buildup inside arteries. narrowing the vessels that supply the brain. Over time, these plaques can rupture, triggering the clots that cause ischemic stroke. Lifestyle factors add fuel to the fire. Smoking damages blood vessel linings, thickens blood, and raises blood pressure, tripling the risk of stroke. Excessive alcohol, poor diet, and lack of physical activity all contribute to obesity, hypertension, and diabetes, creating a dangerous cycle. Family history also matters. Seniors with parents or siblings who suffered strokes carry a higher genetic risk, particularly when combined with unhealthy habits. Medications and other medical conditions can add further complications. Blood thinners may increase the chance of hemorrhagic stroke, and while kidney disease or chronic lung problems can worsen overall vascular health. The truth is that most seniors face not just one risk factor but several at the same time. A person with high blood pressure, diabetes, and smoking history is many times more likely to suffer a stroke than someone with none of these issues. The lesson is simple. Stroke is not random bad luck. It is the result of cumulative risks that can be identified, measured, and controlled. Knowing these dangers is the first step toward prevention. If this has made you reflect on your own health, wait until you hear about the next part, where I will explain how everyday lifestyle and medication choices can further increase stroke risk and what seniors must do to protect themselves. Part 5. How lifestyle and medication choices can increase risk. The fifth truth you must recognize is that beyond age and medical conditions, the daily choices seniors make can either protect the brain or quietly raise the risk of stroke. Lifestyle habits, when ignored, become silent killers. Smoking is one of the most dangerous. Every cigarette damages the lining of blood vessels, increases clotting, and raises blood pressure. Seniors who smoke are 2 to 4 times more likely to suffer a stroke than those who do not. Even after decades of smoking, quitting can reduce risk almost immediately, showing that it is never too late to change. Alcohol is another overlooked danger. While small amounts may not be harmful, heavy drinking raises blood pressure and weakens the heart. Binge drinking is particularly risky because it can trigger atrial fibrillation, which in turn causes clots to form and travel to the brain. Poor diet also plays a major role. Diets high in processed foods, salt, and unhealthy fats drive up cholesterol and blood pressure. Seniors who rely on fast food, sugary snacks, or fried meals are feeding the very conditions that cause stroke. On the other hand, diets rich in vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein can lower risk dramatically. Physical inactivity is equally harmful. The body was designed to move, and when it does not, circulation slows, weight increases, and the risk of diabetes and hypertension climbs. Even light activity, such as walking 15 to 20 minutes each day, can strengthen blood vessels and improve heart function. Medication choices also deserve careful attention. Many seniors take multiple prescriptions, and while these drugs can save lives, they also carry risks if not managed carefully. Blood thinners, for example, are often prescribed to prevent clots, but they increase the chance of bleeding strokes if not monitored. Anti-inflammatory drugs and certain pain medications can also raise blood pressure or thin the blood in dangerous ways. Sedatives and sleep medications may suppress breathing at night, increasing vulnerability to both stroke and cardiac arrest. Seniors must never adjust doses on their own. Skip follow-up appointments, or combine medications with alcohol. Doing so can tip the balance toward disaster. The problem is compounded when lifestyle risks and medication risks overlap. A senior who smokes, drinks heavily, eats poorly, and takes multiple prescriptions is living on the edge of a stroke without realizing it. The lesson is clear. Stroke risk is not only shaped by age and medical history, it is also shaped every day by choices about smoking, drinking, diet, activity, and medication management. The good news is that these are risks you can change. Even small adjustments, made consistently, reduce danger and improve quality of life. If this has made you reflect on your habits, wait until you hear about the next part, where I will reveal 8 proven steps seniors can take right now to dramatically reduce their risk of stroke and protect their independence. Part 6. 8 proven steps to reduce stroke risk. The sixth truth every senior must understand is that stroke is not only preventable, but also manageable with clear, proven strategies. Research shows that up to 80% of strokes could be prevented by controlling risk factors and making lifestyle adjustments. The first and most important step is to maintain a healthy blood pressure. High blood pressure is the #1 driver of both ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke. And controlling it through diet, exercise, and medication, when necessary, is the strongest protection you can give your brain. The second step is to manage blood sugar levels. Seniors with diabetes face double the risk of stroke, but regular monitoring, proper diet, and adherence to medication can stabilize blood sugar and protect blood vessels. The third step is to control cholesterol. High levels of LDL cholesterol build plaques inside arteries, but choosing foods rich in fiber and healthy fats, along with prescribed statins when necessary, can lower levels and keep arteries open. The fourth step is to quit smoking. No matter your age, quitting immediately begins to repair blood vessel lining, reduce clotting, and lower blood pressure. Even lifelong smokers benefit within weeks of quitting. The fifth step is to limit alcohol consumption. Seniors should avoid binge drinking and keep alcohol intake to a safe minimum, because excess intake spikes blood pressure and weakens heart rhythm. The sixth step is to engage in regular physical activity. This does not mean extreme workouts. Even moderate exercise, such as brisk walking, swimming, or light aerobics for 30 minutes, most days can improve circulation, strengthen the heart, and balance weight. The seventh step is to eat a balanced diet focused on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and reduced salt. This not only lowers blood pressure and cholesterol, but also helps maintain a healthy weight, easing stress on the cardiovascular system. The eighth step is to manage stress through techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, or gentle yoga. Chronic stress releases hormones that elevate blood pressure and damage vessels. Seniors who practice relaxation not only feel better emotionally, but also protect their brain from stroke. In addition to these 8 steps, regular medical checkups are vital. Routine visits allow doctors to monitor blood pressure, sugar, and cholesterol, adjust medications, and detect silent conditions that increase risk. Seniors who commit to these habits not only reduce their chance of stroke, but also improve their overall quality of life. The lesson is clear. Stroke is not destiny. It is a condition shaped by choices, and the power to prevent it rests in your hands. If this list of steps has inspired you, stay with me for the conclusion. where I will summarize the most important lessons and remind you why it is never too late to protect your brain, your independence, and your future. Conclusion: it's never too late to protect your brain. We have now reached the final and most important message. Stroke is not just another illness of old age. It is a sudden attack on the brain that can steal independence in an instant. Yet the truth is that seniors have far more control over their risk than many realize. By understanding what stroke really is, recognizing the warning signs, knowing the different types, identifying the major risk factors, and making changes in daily habits, you can dramatically reduce the chance of becoming another statistic. Too often I see patients who believe it is too late to change. That age has already sealed their fate, but science proves otherwise. Even small steps, taken consistently, can transform outcomes. Quitting smoking after decades still lowers stroke risk. Controlling blood pressure even late in life still prevents ruptured vessels. Choosing healthier meals still reduces cholesterol and blood sugar. Protecting the brain's delicate arteries. Every positive change matters, no matter when you begin. The golden rule is simple: never ignore sudden weakness, slurred speech, vision problems, or loss of balance. Treat them as emergencies, not inconveniences. Acting quickly during the golden window of treatment can mean the difference between full recovery and lifelong disability. Equally important is prevention. The 8 proven steps you have just learned are powerful tools that belong in every senior's life. By taking charge of your health, you are not only protecting yourself but also giving peace of mind to your family, who depend on you. Stroke is one of the leading causes of death and disability, but it does not have to define your future. Your body still remembers how to heal. Your brain, even after years of stress, still wants protection. By making better choices today, you can safeguard your memory, your mobility, and your independence for years to come. Share this knowledge with someone you love, because awareness can save lives. Do not let silence or ignorance rob you or your family of a healthy future. Now, I would love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you have learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let us support each other on this journey towards stronger hearts, sharper brains, and longer lives. If you enjoyed this video, comment 1. If not, comment 0. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another health tip made just for you.